What if I told you that Ferrari has found the secret weapon that could completely change Formula One in 2026? After years of frustrations, strategic mistakes, and redesigns that didn't work, for the first time in a long time, there is optimism inside the Maranello simulator. But is this an illusion or the real sign that they are ready to regain the top? Stay, because what I'm going to tell you won't hear on any other channel. The Project 678 is not simply a new car. It is a complete restructuring of how Ferrari designs, develops, and tests a car. This project integrated for the first time a close collaboration between the chassis, engine, and aerodynamics departments from day one. It was no longer about having a good engine or a good body separately. Everything had to work as a single system, optimized for the 2026 rules. A hybrid engine without MGUH, a brutal increase in electric recovery, new active aerodynamic modes that require manual changes during the lap, and a new dimension of energy efficiency. In addition, Ferrari brought key figures into the project. One of the most important signings was Loic Serra, former head of performance at Mercedes, who joined the team to lead the integration between the car's dynamic behavior and new suspension technologies. The way drivers interact with the technical team was also redefined. From the first moment, Hamilton and Leclerc have been an active part of the development. His simulator sessions were not merely tests. They were shared decisions about the technical direction of the car. At this point, it is crucial to understand that Ferrari is not just building a faster car. You are trying to design a performance ecosystem. One where every element, from internal combustion to steering wheel management, from downforce to the use of regenerative braking, is designed not only to compete, but to prevail in a highly regulated environment full of uncertainty. Therefore, when we talk about there being good feelings in Maranello after the simulations, we are not dealing with blind optimism or a simple improvement compared to the previous disaster. We are facing the reflection of a project that, for the first time in a long time, seems to have a clear direction, a coherent execution, and its own technical identity. The main problem is the weight. These new steel heads add between 25 and 30 extra kilograms to the drive assembly. In a sport where teams spend millions to save grams, this is almost heresy. But Ferrari didn't just accept the challenge, it embraced it completely. In fact, although they developed a version with aluminum heads in parallel as Plan B, at the end of winter they decided to discard it. The commitment to steel is total. But we cannot talk about engines without mentioning the sound factor. Although modern F1 no longer prioritizes the classic roar of V10s, Ferrari has worked to maintain a clear sonic identity. In part, this is a nod to the emotional DNA of the Scuderia, but it also has practical implications. More defined frequencies allow operating patterns, irregular vibrations, and potential failures to be identified through acoustic sensors. What Ferrari has done with its 2026 engine is not simply innovative. It's countercultural. In a world obsessed with lightness and efficiency, they have opted for robustness, extreme durability, and a thermal platform that allows them to explore the limits of the new hybrid era without fear of breaking anything. The question is simple. Will this commitment to steel be the decisive step that catapults them back to the top, or an unnecessary burden that ends up sinking the project when the other teams exploit lighter and more conventional designs? We will know soon. But what is clear is that, for the first time in a long time, Ferrari has made a technical decision that does not follow the rest, but rather seeks to lead the evolution of the category from the very heart of the car. When thinking about the technical evolution of a Formula One car, it is easy to focus on the engine or aerodynamics. However, in the 2026 season, one of the most subtle but potentially devastating weapons Ferrari could have going for it isn't in the wings or the power unit. It's right where the wheels touch the ground, the suspension. During the hybrid era, Ferrari has persistently suffered with the car's balance, especially on circuits where corner exit traction and braking stability were decisive. The complaints were recurring: lack of confidence entering fast corners, sudden loss of grip in slow corners, and a chassis that seemed unable to take advantage of the potential of its tires. Those issues, more than anything else, contributed to the team's stagnation even in seasons where they had a competitive engine. But in 2026, Ferrari has decided to break with its own tradition. For the first time since 2010, the Scuderia has adopted a double pushrod system, both on the front and rear axles. This technical decision may seem minor, but it is actually a clear sign that they are trying to completely redefine the way your car interacts with the road. The heart of this change is the use of anisotropic carbon fiber materials in the suspension elements. Unlike conventional carbon fiber, which has uniform properties in all directions, this advanced variant allows you to precisely control how the suspension arms flex depending on the type of load applied. In other words, the component can be rigid in the face of longitudinal forces such as braking or acceleration, but offer controlled flexibility in the face of vertical or lateral forces, such as those generated when driving over a curb or cornering at high speed. This opens up a completely new dimension in managing the car's dynamic behavior. In simulations, Ferrari observed notable improvements in 3 critical moments. First, at corner entry, where the car relies on the front suspension. The new architecture provides a more progressive contact between the rubber and the asphalt, eliminating that first whiplash that previously made the driver lose confidence. Second, in the center of the curve, where the car stabilizes and the driver needs millimeter precision. Here, the chassis structure and suspension work together to deliver a neutral balance, without excessive understeer or sudden oversteer. And finally, on corner exit, where traction is everything. The rear system now allows load to be transferred more efficiently to the rear axle, which translates into better acceleration, less slippage and less tire wear. According to internal Ferrari estimates based on CFD simulations and dynamic bench data, this evolution in the suspension system could contribute between 0.6 and 0.7 seconds per lap on circuits with high mechanical demand such as Sakir, Hungaroring, or even Zandvoort. This is not a small figure. In modern Formula 1, half a second per lap can be the difference between starting in the third row or on pole. Furthermore, this advantage does not only translate into pure performance. It also improves the consistency of the car throughout the race. A car that better manages the load on its tires and responds with predictability in variable conditions, rain, side wind, degradation, is a car that allows its drivers to risk more and make fewer mistakes. There is one more technical detail that cannot be overlooked. By not using active electronic elements in the system, Ferrari remains completely within the legality of the 2026 regulation, which prohibits active suspensions. All intelligent behavior of the system is based on passive geometries, material properties, and extreme calibration of each element. It is an elegant, intelligent, and completely legal design. But like everything in this sport, the final question is, will it work on the real track? Because it is one thing to dominate in the simulator or on the test bench, and quite another to face real potholes, treacherous curbs, or a puddled track at dusk in Suzuka. Ferrari thinks so. And if their predictions come true, this suspension could be the silent weapon that puts them back in a position to fight for the championship. In the technical discourse that dominates modern Formula 1, with its constant focus on figures, aerodynamics, and simulations, the essential thing is sometimes forgotten. That at the end of the day, a human being is behind the wheel. And in 2026, more than ever, that human factor will be decisive. The new technical regulations not only impose challenges on engineers, they also require a complete redefinition of the driver's role within the car. Ferrari has understood this perfectly. For this reason, one of the less visible but most relevant focuses of the development of the SF26 has been the comprehensive redesign of the steering wheel and its man-machine interface. In recent years, the steering wheel of a Formula 1 had been transformed into an overloaded command center. Dozens of buttons, multiple rotary switches, navigable menus on the screen, a kind of highly complex video game console. But in 2026, all that must change. The new rules, by incorporating manual active aerodynamic modes, sectorized deployment of the hybrid system, real-time energy strategies, and more advanced telemetry, require the pilot to manage an unprecedented number of variables, with no margin for error at more than 300 km per hour. Faced with this, Ferrari opted for a bold solution: simplify to dominate. Unlike other teams that have added more and more functions to their wheels, Ferrari opted to condense. Group critical functions, eliminate redundancies, and reconfigure the physical layout of the steering wheel to maximize its ergonomics. The result is a more compact, clearer, and more intuitive device. Secondary switches have been removed and multiple functions have been consolidated into just 3 main rotary switches, located below the center display. Each of these controls key systems: energy recovery, MGUK deployment, and electronic adjustments linked to the car's efficiency. This grouping not only simplifies use, but significantly reduces the possibility of operational errors mid-stroke. But perhaps the most dangerous risk is not in the wind tunnel, nor in the power unit. It is at the very heart of the team, the drivers and their technical environment. Ferrari cannot afford to start badly. Because if the SF26 does not perform in the tests in Barcelona or Bahrain, the media, political pressure, and the inertia of the paddock will begin to undermine the fragile balance that supports the team today. In that sense, what Ferrari is building is not just a car. He's building a redemption narrative. A promise that this time they have learned from their mistakes. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.